If you're buying a new home, the seduction factor is the show house. I would really recommend coming into a store like Easy Living Interiors, where you will speak to somebody who can pull it all together.
Welcome to Style Stories, brought to you by Easy Living Interiors, helping you transform your space and create the feeling of home. You love interiors, we love interiors, so let's talk about it. I'm Laura and you're very welcome to another episode of Style Stories with Easy Living Interiors. So many of our conversations around home focus on what happens once you've gotten the keys. But today we're talking about the part that comes before that, the searching, the uncertainty, the moments where confidence can really take a wobble. Joining me today is Liz O'Kane, buyer's agent, TV host of Help Me Buy a Home, and someone who has become a trusted voice for people trying to navigate a very challenging property market. Liz works on the buyer's side, advocating, advising and guiding people through what can be an emotional and overwhelming process. In this episode, we talk about confidence, resilience, realism, about knowing when to hold your ground and when to open your thinking up and look at other options, and about how having the right support can completely change how buying a home feels. Whether you're a first-time buyer, thinking about your next move, or simply curious about how people find their way home, this is a conversation that will really resonate. So let's get into it. Good morning, Liz.
Good old form, thanks be to God. We're into January 2026 and the market is well and truly wakening up.
Great. And you're busy.
Yeah, really busy. Very thankful and very grateful to be very busy. It's, being self-employed and having your own business is all about the occasional wobble along the way, for sure. You mentioned that in your lovely intro. And no wobbles right now for lots of reasons that some people will understand. A lot of those reasons are political reasons, unfortunately.
Yeah. So you're a proud Louth woman.
I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
We began our relationship with you as the opening of our Dundalk store.
Yeah.
So talk about Louth growing up there. How did Louth influence wanting to work in the property market?
God, did County Louth influence me to work in the property market? No.
Okay.
No, not at all. I always had, from a very young age, an interest in property. Just like driving in the car, looking at houses, right? I still go for walks in the evening, looking in people's windows. I am the person that's kind of peering through the gates to see what colour the walls are, etc., etc. I had other interests that were always kind of property aligned. I had an interest in architecture, but I didn't really have any guidance in design or creativity or drawings or anything like that. But I was also acutely aware of housing design. And then the other area that I was interested in was law.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. I don't know if I just liked having the occasional row with somebody and winning. But I had an interest in law, but also on the legal side of the property process. And that was really from a very young age. And when I say from a very young age, I mean from when I was 10 or 11.
Right.
Which is kind of a bit bonkers, noting that I did nothing in either until quite a late age. I read the Irish Times every single Thursday from a very, very early age because of the property supplement. Sorry, I wasn't reading the other editorial in the Irish Times about economics and politics and commercial bits and pieces. I wasn't reading that, but I wanted the property supplement. I wanted that. I wanted the broadsheet paper in my hand and flicking through all of the estate agents and looking at the values of homes and reading the auction results as it was at the time. So I was, really interested in that. But it was more, I would say it was more of a national interest, maybe more so than County Louth, particularly.
Yeah.
Drogheda is a very industrial town. It's a successful industrial town in that we have a thriving port, beautiful coastlines on both north and south of the town. And I spent most of my growing up in my younger years, say from 11, 12, 13 years of age, playing golf and playing tennis and being on the beach during the summer months.
Really well-rounded though, a lot of different interests. And it's interesting how, I suppose, buyer's agent, it brings together all of that in terms of the law and knowing, like we spoke a bit about how you really help people like every step of the way to come into Ireland and get set up here. So all of that really feeds into, I suppose, your interest from an early age. So it's great to see that you've kind of forged a career.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. It's only as we get a little bit older and a little bit wiser that you can kind of look back and join up all the dots.
All the pieces,
as to how did I actually get to where I am today. I had horrendous imposter syndrome. Horrendous imposter syndrome. And I'm probably a little bit older than you, Laura, right? But I do think that I came from the tail end of that generation where women were very subservient and you did stay quiet and you weren't as well educated as the lads and you didn't speak up. And I actually really feel that. That's gone now, thankfully. But my first proper paying job, I didn't go to college when I left school. I went to college twice thereafter. But I didn't go to college when I left school. I kind of did everything backwards. All my friends, you know, after their leaving cert, the majority of them all would have gone on to third level education. I didn't. I was more interested in making a few bob, right? And this college business was a load of baloney as far as I was concerned. And I just wanted a job.
Good to work, yeah.
And my first proper paying job was as an airline stewardess with British Airways.
I knew that actually from my research,
Yeah. And I worked for British Airways for 10 years. And I can honestly tell you that was the best sales training and hospitality training that anybody could ever want in their lives, to know and learn how to deal with people at every possible level.
So a buyer's agent, for listeners, can you explain what a buyer's agent is for people who might not know?
So I'm a real estate agent, okay? So I have the same license as any sales agents who are out there. So you see all the big names around all of the cities of all of the top agents who are selling homes and small independents as well. So I am exactly the same as them. I hold the same license, except I represent the purchaser exclusively, right? I do not stick for sale signs into people's front gardens, and I do not stand there 2 or 3 times a week at open viewings and walking the general public through a property and trying to extract a bid out of them. I started my business in 2002, 3 weeks after my daughter was born, right? So that just shows you that I'm a bit barmy, right? But it also, I suppose, shows you that when I have an idea about something, I go for it big time. And I couldn't understand why the purchaser wasn't represented. I couldn't quite work out in my brain, how come the sales agent had the power to represent the seller and the purchaser? It didn't sit well with me. Now, by the way, buyer's agents are very much the norm in North America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. A buyer's agent is a very common service in those areas and in parts of Europe as well, and in the UK, primarily London, right? But those buyer's agents are generally can also sell property as well. And I said, jack of all, master of none, not sure about that. That means I still have to stick the for sale signs into the front garden. And I don't really want to do that. Now, by the way, in my nerdy brain, I'm only actually very good at one thing at a time. You know, I'm not good at having 3 or 4 or 5 things flung at me and manage that. I prefer being able to do something well and be the expert in that particular field. I started my business in 2002 on a wing and a prayer and a laptop. Honestly, a wing and a prayer and a laptop. And tried very hard. And by the way, there was no social media at that time. Mobile phones were the size of my coffee cup over there, bricks. And I actually had a small job on a Saturday. Actually, this is a bit of crack. I had a small job on a Saturday with one of the larger estate agents in Dublin, whereby they used to have Saturday people who came in and showed properties on a Saturday morning to allow the sales agents have a break who were working from Monday to Friday. And I used to slot my own marketing material into the brochure.
Cute out.
Cheating a bit, cheating.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah.
And the phone just very, very slowly started to ring. As a very small entrepreneur, what we tend to do, or what, you know, people who are in startups or small businesses or entrepreneurs starting off is, you tend to do a lot of work for very little, if nothing, to give you that kickstart.
Sweat equity, as they call it.
I've never heard that term.
Have you not?
No, I have not.
You know, there's a TV show where it's Mystery Billionaire, Mystery Millionaire, and they go into these towns. It's based in America, and they go into these towns where, let's say, industry business is all starting to decline, and they get the local people to do sweat equity, and they work and they help build up this new business. But at the end, the millionaire hands it back to the people
to the
who
community.
built it up. So then they own it. So it's sweat equity.
Is it a little bit like The Secret Millionaire?
Yeah, same kind of concept.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to see because it shows kind of people like who will just out of the goodness of their hearts support something without wanting any gain out of it. And it's just that lovely moment at the end when they get something from it, but that's not the reason they've done it, you know?
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. Yeah, and very important. It's really, really important to give back. God, there's a few people that are springing into my mind now that definitely wouldn't do that. But anyway.
So people often say buying a home knocks their confidence.
Oh God, yeah.
I guess everyone says that. Yeah. So you describe your style as gentle but firm hand-holding. How does that approach help buyers feel steadier and more confident as they move through the process?
What was it? I got a text message yesterday from a gorgeous single girl who was sale agreed yesterday, and she sent me a message and she said, "Thank you so much for the firm hand and the tough love when it was required." Right, and I was actually really delighted with that. I think I'm a very no-nonsense, very straight person. And if anybody comes to speak to me, it's kind of my way or the highway. It kind of is, because if you want to engage with a buyer's agent for them to take your hand and lead you from A to Z successfully, you have to have complete faith in that individual, that they know exactly what it is that they're doing, and you kind of just have to go with them. The people who contact me for a variety of reasons. Number one, they failed in the marketplace. They've been unsuccessful. Number two, they're either living overseas and they want and need to get a foothold into the Irish residential market. And anybody who's overseas just goes, well, I'm in Australia. How the hell are we going to do this? We need to find somebody to do this for us. We need to find somebody with boots on the ground, literally, who's going to charge around on behalf of that individual. And they get it. They understand the service. Or you have a very busy professional or very busy professional couples, people who are working Monday to Friday, 9 till 9 in some cases, and who physically do not have the time to do it. And they will also buy services. I get numerous emails. Actually, normally on a Sunday night, I kind of go, I just jump onto my thing and I go, oh, Jesus, we'll deal with that in the morning, right? And I will always get emails on a Sunday night from varying people who might have €300,000 to spend right through to 3 million, right? And what you have to remember about purchasing a home or any property, is that it's not a transaction that happens very often, right? So it's not like we're going out to buy a pair of winter boots every 2 years or once a year, or you're coming into Easy Living Interiors, for example, to buy a couch. You're not going to buy a couch again for another 10 or 12 or 15 years. Mm-hmm. Likely. Yep. Maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me.
No, yeah, correct.
But if you're buying a home, you might do it once in your lifetime. You might do it twice. You might upsize or downsize. Or you might do it 3 times at best in your lifetime, right? So that transaction doesn't happen too often. And it is a roller coaster ride, particularly in terms of second-hand property in this country, whereby we have a bidding process. It's a very long, slow, antiquated process of, first of all, launching a property on the market, then going through a marketing campaign, and we haven't got to conveyancing yet, getting a home to a sale agreed stage, and then you have to have your pre-purchase survey conducted. And now we're going to go into the legal bit, right? And the legal bit in this country can take anything from, I would say, 12 weeks at best to 24 weeks before you get the keys. Now, what is wrong with this picture, right? So when somebody says, hey, Liz, hi, I'd love your help, I first of all offer them a consultation, which is 40 minutes. And I go through every single step and stage of what it is that they need to do to end up getting the keys to that property. And I tell them in no uncertain terms, this is going to take you the guts of 6 months. And it might even take longer than that. And their jaws are, what?
6 months sounds best case scenario.
It can be best case scenario.
Yeah.
Right? And you haven't turned the keys yet. Okay? And then I have American clients as well, who think that they're going to land in Dublin on a Monday, or Shannon, or Limerick, or Cork, and they'll be sale agreed on a Friday. And I'm going to hear, lads, now you're in the wrong country. Because in the States, and if I hear one more time, but in America, and I'm saying, we're not in America, we are an island nation.
We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy.
We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. We're an island nation, and it's kind of go slow and stop.
Yeah.
It's kind of go slow and stop, almost with everything, actually. we're not really in any mad hurry now to do anything, and our property laws are slow and antiquated. However, as a comparable, and something does need to change, and I know that IPAV, who I am a member of, which is the Institute of Professional Auctioneers and Valuers, have been trying to lobby the government to get what's called a buyer's pack, whereby any property that goes onto the market would have a buyer's pack. So your pre-purchase survey would already be conducted. Your title deeds would already be requested from a bank if there was a mortgage on that property, and your contract is all in a pack, ready to go.
And that makes so much sense.
So that's exactly what happens in the US. And we do everything backwards. If you put a property on the market in the United States, you put the property on the market, you must disclose by law any issues with the property. Insulation, windows, subsidence, a crack in the wall, whatever it happens to be. You must disclose that. Your pre-purchase survey is already conducted so that anybody walking into the house can take a look at that pre-purchase survey. Title deeds are there and the contract is ready to go. Boom, we're all sale agreed and signed in 20 days.
Yeah.
And everybody's in their house.
It's mad that, like, let's say people, they'll be doing a renovation in their house and then suddenly they find things like damp in the wall has to come down, asbestos.
So we do everything backwards.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we do everything backwards. We launch the property and we go bid, followed by, let's have a pre-purchase survey.
Yeah.
Let's get our inspector in.
When you say it like that.
When you say it like
it's
that.
Insane.
It's like, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
So I spend my time explaining that to people. I spend my time saying, this is the process. This is slow. This is antiquated. Yeah. You either believe me or you go and try and do this on your own. And if you go and try and do it on your own, I'll see you in 6 months because you won't have been successful.
And do you see change happening? Do you see things moving forward in terms of modernising the process anytime soon?
The only thing that has been completely transparent is the digital bidding platforms.
Right.
That's it. That's it. Whereby not every sales agent, by the way, uses a digital bidding platform. Most of them do. For me, personally, I have no difficulty using a bidding platform, but my business is very much about relationships.
Yep.
It's very much about my relationships with everybody who has anything to do with property, whether they're selling a property, whether they're furnishing something, like Easy Living Interiors. I'm going to send somebody to Easy Living Interiors, to Laura, for example, whether it's on the legal side, whether it's on the foreign exchange side. My business is all about contacts, and it has taken me 20 years to glean those contacts to a very, very high level. So I'm not letting go of my contacts anytime soon. So my point being that I have no difficulty using an online bidding platform, but I still want that conversation with the sales agent.
Face-to-face.
I still want that face-to-face.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I won't fully engage with social media. Social media and anywhere where I'm not speaking to a person.
Yeah.
As I say to people on my Zoom consultations, my job is to know everybody involved in the property industry on this island. And if they don't answer the phone when they see my name coming up, I'm doing my job wrong.
So it sounds to me like your approach is logic in what can be an emotional situation for a lot of people.
Yeah. Look, if somebody is hiring me to source and negotiate a home for their needs, and by the way, Laura, I lose sometimes as well. Like I don't win.
Yeah.
I don't win every day of the week.
Yeah.
You know, there's days I lose too, and I don't really like losing. But it happens. And sometimes you have to advise somebody that this is actually getting a little bit silly, or maybe you're pushing yourself a little bit too far, or maybe it's worth another shot in the bidding process. It's also knowing how to bid strategically. And the average punter who's out there in the bidding market doesn't really know how to bid on a property. And also make yourself known to a sales agent. I mean, this is also a really important point in terms of how buyers agents also operate. A sales agent, if they're speaking to a vendor and we have a stalemate in the bidding process, you know, I might be the underbidder. But a sales agent is very likely to say to a vendor, look, to me, the strongest purchaser is the person who's actually employed the buyer's agent to act on their behalf. They've got representation. They're invested. That buyer's agent has sight of their proof of funds. Really? I really think that this is the direction you need to move in.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but most of the time it helps.
Interesting. I feel like I've had a whole new perspective now in terms of looking at the way
good perspective.
It's backwards.
It's a good perspective.
It's a realistic perspective.
Yeah.
So that's good. So talk about Help Me Buy a Home then. So it's coming back. Season's coming back. You're shooting soon.
We are. And I'm very lucky, which kind of brings me back to what I said earlier. I'm jack of all and master of nothing. So when that little creative piece of my life comes along, oh my God, I absolutely love it. I really do. Because primarily I work on my own all the time. Lots of people say to me, can we meet you in your office? I go, well, you'll have to get into the car because my car is my office.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't actually have an on-street office. I don't need one, but my car is my office. And I do work primarily on my own. So, all my Zooms are on my own. All my viewings are on my own. I'm in the car on my own. You can get a lot of business done in the car as well. I'm sure you came up on the train from Cork.
On the train, on the plane. Well, you've no coverage on the plane, but sure, look, you can do your writing on the plane.
You can do your writing, you can do your intros, all your excellently written intros, etc. So Help Me Buy a Home gives me a fantastic opportunity to be with other people all of the time. And it's only when you're away from it, you kind of go, oh God, I kind of miss that. But they're all real creatives.
Yeah.
I love working with camera guys, sound men and women, directors, casting producers, script writers. I'm in.
Cork's own Kevin and PJ.
Cork's
big shout out.
Big shout out. Sorry, I'm grandmam, lads. You'll have to get them sitting on the couch with you at some point.
Yeah. They've been on this very couch,
Oh, have they done this?
And this sofa was on their stage in the Cork Opera House a couple of years back.
Oh, you're very good
for their show. Yeah. So we worked with them a couple of years back.
No.
But it's amazing to see their
Kevin in
Australia.
They're the new Ant and Deck, for me.
Yeah.
They're just wonderful. Honestly, a total joy to work with. I don't get to work with them actually very often. We spend maybe a couple of days together shooting varying segments. They're lovely. They're energetic. They have the most gorgeous Cork manners ever. Yeah. I love their manners, and they're just respectful and great fun.
Yeah.
Great fun.
And let's just talk about your TV career in general. So you had a show with Dermot Bannon as well. You did.
Jesus, you have done your research.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
So I was first involved, actually, shortly after I launched the business by fraudulently putting all of my marketing material into somebody else's high-end brochure. Would you believe it? There was a show airing on RTE at that time called House Hunters.
Yeah, I know it.
Do you remember? Yeah. How would you know House Hunters?
Liz, I loved property and all of this from a very young age as well, yeah.
So at the time, I was hosting the viewing of a property on a very dark Saturday afternoon in December. And the next thing is rat-a-tat-tat on the door, and I opened the door and Coco Television crew were standing there and they said, we're here to shoot this house for House Hunters.
Yay.
And I went, I'm going home now. Sorry, I didn't even know you guys were coming. She said, look, just give me 15 minutes. So I had a bit of a chat, and she said to me, the producer at the time was a lady called Hilary O'Donovan, who's still in the game. And Hilary said to me, would you mind giving us a line to camera?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, no problem. What do you want me to say? She said, just describe the house.
But you have a great voice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And she said, would you just describe the house? So I did. That was a Saturday evening, and I had a call on Monday morning to say, will you come in to see us?
Do you remember what you said? How did you describe the house?
This is a very handsome property, Victorian property in the heart of Dublin 6, built in circa 1880. I can't remember what I said, but something about the Victorian era.
Yeah.
I do remember saying a handsome red brick.
Yeah.
So maybe they like that. I don't know.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest, there's a load of history. Yeah. I kind of got belted by a few recessions along the way as well. So, there was a load of history.
Yeah, so you started your business in 2002. So,
2002.
Yeah, so right when things were really, really good.
2002. Yeah. Presented House Hunters and House Hunters in the Sun for 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Followed by Rock On to 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
We all went belly in the banking crisis, right? Including my business. And property was now a dirty word. And it was bye-bye House Hunters and House Hunters in the Sun and rock in Dermot.
Yeah.
And Dermot was my last co-presenter on House Hunters. So Dermot's career went from bye-bye House Hunters to Room to Improve, and he's been belting on ever since.
Yeah, it's mad. And No Frontiers as well. That was another one that I loved. It was
No Frontiers with Catherine.
Yes, Catherine Thomas, yeah.
God almighty, that was a very good show.
That's like, to me, the glory days, that TV era on RTE was like, that's all the kind of TV that I loved, all that property.
Yeah, but you know what? There's still many property
absolutely.
shows across both Virgin Media and RTE. And God, poor Hugh, who passed away so suddenly.
I know.
And he was another person who was an absolute joy.
Yeah.
And that was a massive shock. And I did a pilot podcast with Hugh.
I knew that, I saw that,
And we did that pilot podcast, and it was going to be called Round the Houses with Hugh and Laser. And we did the pilot thing, and he was so funny on it. I was cracking up laughing. Like, I spent my time laughing on the podcast.
He was hilarious.
Listening to Hugh, and I didn't really contribute anything.
Yeah.
But in that podcast, he said, let's reclaim Sandymount Strand. Let's reclaim the whole of Sandymount Strand and take over Dublin Port and build a new town out there, and we'll stick Dublin Port up towards Drogheda and Dundalk. And this was his new idea to expand the city.
You know, and we worked with you ourselves for a good few years, and we always said, like, it just felt like he was getting started.
100%.
Like, his energy was he was constantly looking for the next opportunity. Whenever we worked with him, it was like nothing was an ask to him. You know, like, you'd ask for something and he'd be like, but let me do this and this and this and this. Instead, he was such a lovely, hardworking, generous person.
And he was at that lovely phase in life where he had choice.
Yeah.
You know, there was lots of choice.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that I'm at that phase as well. There's lots of lovely, lovely things. Business is good. Then when you do something like this, you know, it's that creative bit that just, all those lovely choices about what to do and those nice opportunities that come along, and you can say, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Freedom.
Yeah.
So many buyers listening will have their very fixed idea of dream home. So it might be 4 bedrooms, garage in, and they'll have rigid ideas in a specific location.
Yeah.
When the dream starts to feel out of reach, how do you help people expand their thinking and maybe look at other options?
So that happens right from the beginning.
Absolutely.
That happens immediately.
Yeah.
That happens very, very early indeed. And we also do that on Help Me Buy a Home as well. You know, it's in your brain, I'll say, in your brain, paint me the picture. Tell me what it is that you think this budget is going to achieve. Realistically, you tell me. And you can discover, you know, I will tell people immediately whether I believe their budget is achievable for what their dream is, for want of a better way of putting it. I will tell them straight away whether I believe that's achievable or not. Most of the time, it's actually not achievable.
Yeah.
So you need to change the goalposts. So you need to just say, okay, lads, right, we're going to change the goalposts here a little bit. So if somebody is absolutely fixated on a 3-bed semi-detached house in Dot, right, I might say, okay, I'm not sure that that's achievable, because there's lots of other people out there with exactly the same budget as yours who are looking for the exact same thing. So you need to try and eliminate yourself from the competition. And how do we eliminate you from the competition? We might move the goalposts in terms of location by a few kilometres. So I go, let's stick the pin in the map, but let's get the circumference around the pin and let's change the location a little bit. You'd be really surprised by just moving a couple of kilometres in a few different directions can glean. And then also encourage somebody to maybe, I'm just using a 3-bed as an example, but to maybe consider a 2-bed with a really great pitch on a house, whereby you can get the 3rd bed in the attic and time into the attic space and time and the second bathroom and all of that.
And as well, you can build your extensions as well at the back to a certain amount that you don't need planning for.
That's
something I learned on Help Me Buy a Home, actually.
Oh,
yes.
And actually it's extraordinary. Lots of people do not know this, which I can't say this about 20,000 times a year. So I'm like, how do you not know that? So planning legislation is as follows: 40 square metres to the rear of your home without planning is applicable to everybody in the nation.
Yeah, and that makes a great bedroom size or a...
Oh my God, 40 square metres is huge.
It's huge,
It's about 430 square feet. It's huge. Most of the time you won't need that.
Yeah.
You won't need that.
Yeah.
But you still need to be very careful about your heights and your boundary lines and who you're potentially building up against or not, as the case may be. But there's always another solution.
Exactly.
You know,
thinking outside of the physical box that is a house.
Literally.
Yeah.
Just thinking about something that might be a bit more creative or a little bit more smart or just get you ahead of the posse.
Yeah. Brilliant. So the emotional side of buying can be really intense, especially when people have their Pinterest boards and a certain look in mind and, oh, I want this style. So what practical advice would you give listeners to help them keep their buyer's head switched on and think with that investment mindset as opposed to a stylistic mindset?
Well, the stylistic mindset, to be frank, doesn't really come into it at that early stage, or the aesthetic doesn't really come into it at that early stage, in my view, unless maybe you're buying a new home.
Yeah.
You're buying something that's turnkey, right? So predominantly, if you're buying a new home, the seduction factor is the show house.
Totally.
You've already walked in. You've walked into the show house. So you've had the seduction factor with the show house, right? And not everybody has a creative brain. No, not really, or has an individual sense of style. So that's what they're buying.
Yeah.
That's what they're buying. Thereafter, it's up to you then to pull it all together, so to speak. I would really recommend, honestly, really recommend hiring an interior designer or coming into a store like Easy Living Interiors, where you will speak to somebody who can pull it all together for you. It's very easy to make mistakes with interiors. I can make mistakes too, like us all. Now, I've got kind of barmy taste, but anyway.
Stop.
Yeah.
I've seen your taste, Liz. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would describe my own home as very much my life.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime of collectibles and art.
And your artwork.
And all of that. It takes a long time to curate something like that. And it's funny how suddenly, maybe 35 or 40 years later, it all pulls together and looks great.
Yeah.
It's all been shoved around the place as well. I've lived in several homes. In terms of new homes, I would suggest that, that's the seduction factor. I completely understand young people wanting a new home. They want an A-rated home. They want it to be energy efficient. They don't want big, huge bills. Me neither. When it comes to second-hand housing, there's so many great grants available, etc., etc. For a lot of people, it's difficult to gather that money together in order to be able to claim it back. Personally, I'd prefer a second-hand home, personally. But again, property is tight nationally, very, very tight.
So you often say recessions seem to follow you around.
Oh, they do, yeah. They tap me on the shoulder and they go, I'm here.
Property cycles.
Yeah.
But you're always optimistic and you've got a can do, let's do attitude. So what would you say to someone listening who's fearful of buying in uncertain times now in our economy?
Okay, everybody is fearful of that. Everybody. Will I wait? Will I wait? Will I wait? Will I wait for the market to tank? Will I wait? For me, the answer is very simple. You're either in the market or you're not. Mm-hmm. Right? And there is a greater appetite to purchase a home as opposed to living at home with your aging parents or renting. In another market, that is insane. As in, we have zero rental properties. We have another issue coming up in March whereby big landlords, if they want to become smaller landlords, need to sell their apartments. You'll have investors coming back in for that. There's new legislation around that, and rental levels are at an all-time high, right? I have a friend who's been waiting maybe 3 years to buy a property, and property's gone up about, at a minimum, 15 to 20% in that period of time. Waiting for a crash.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that's wise. I really don't think that's wise. For a few reasons, right? Number one, if you want to buy a home, right, and you are chipping away at that asset, would you not prefer to be chipping away at that mortgage or putting X amount of money chipping away at somebody else's mortgage in rent? If you can achieve the mortgage drawdown and purchase the property, my advice is to go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Every single market is cyclical. Every market. It goes up and it goes down, and invariably it goes back up again. It will return.
Yep.
And if we all knew how to get in at the bottom and get out at the top, we'd all be bloody geniuses. Mm-hmm. And we don't know how to get in at the bottom and how to get out at the top. But if you're intending on buying a home for life, if the market goes up, it doesn't bloody matter. Mm-hmm. And if the market goes down, it doesn't bloody matter. Mm-hmm. Because the market will return and we'll go back into the upward cycle again. It's exactly the same in any business globally.
Yep.
Right? So, also, by the way, If you tell your mates, your aunts, your grandaunts, your parents, your first cousins that you are in the market to buy a house, they will all become property experts within about 0.5 of a second and tell you what you can and what you can't do.
Yeah.
Don't listen. Paddle your own canoe. Go speak to an expert. Somebody who can give you some sound advice, and I mean sound, like sound as in, and the confidence to belt on and get on with it. I hope that made sense. I'm not sure if I said that in a very clear way, but I hope that makes sense. If you have the ability to get a mortgage, to achieve a mortgage, draw down the mortgage, bet into the home that you want, forget the market for the moment. Some people may say that I'm giving bad advice. Forget the market for the moment. If we all knew how to get into the bottom and get out at the top, we'd be laughing. But you will be chipping away at that asset for as long as you want and eventually own that asset.
And you bought your first property at 16, 18, 20. Yeah.
Jesus,
16 says I. But listen, 20 though still. So talk about that.
Look, I put myself...
I know.
Well, no, I was in the UK. I was working for British Airways and I was in the UK. And at that time, they were handing out 100% mortgages. I hadn't a clue what I was doing. Not a bloody clue. I just said, maybe I'll give this a stab and see what happens. And I remember I nearly gave my father a heart attack because at the time I bought a one-bedroom apartment for £34,000 just outside London. And he thought he was going to have to bail me out of £34,000. And we were in the midst of a recession here. Yeah. That was in the 80s, right? And 18 months later, I sold that apartment for £58,500. And the light bulb went on then.
So that's the moment then.
Oh, Jesus, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
This is how you make a few bob.
Yeah.
This is how you do it. Don't get me wrong, I've been belted myself. I've got it wrong on a couple of occasions and had to scramble out of negative equity and get back to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. I've managed to hold on to my own home currently that was bought at the top of the market in 2008, right? That went into negative equity, kept chipping away at that mortgage, and now we're back up at the top again. Yeah. So that has taken 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, actually, we'll call it a 15-year cycle. So think the 15-year cycle.
Yeah.
If the market does deplete, it might not take 15 years to come back. That last recession we had, that banking crisis, that came out of nowhere. There was nothing to indicate that there was anything wrong with our economy until the banks screwed it up.
Yeah.
Not the property market. It was a banking crisis, right? And that took us many years to repair and austerity for the whole nation for that period of time. So every market is cyclical and it does come back and we're back.
Yeah, ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
Okay, so looking towards the future. So Help Me Buy a Home is coming back.
Yay.
When is the new season airing?
We're going to start filming really soon, as in really soon.
Yeah.
It's a 50-day shoot for me, which is very intense. And when you're kind of running a business in the background as well, it's tough going. So we're actually going to spread out that period of time. So when I say really soon, it could be in the next 2 to 3 weeks that we actually start shooting. We have lots of applicants to go through, nothing to do with me. The lovely Suri, who's the casting producer, looks after that. And it will probably air, I would say, for the autumn telly.
Excellent.
When we're battening down the hatches and it's getting dark again, it'll Help Me Buy a Home. We'll be back.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
Thank you.
So after years of helping others find a home, living abroad, buying your own homes, what does the feeling of home mean to you?
Oh, God. What does the feeling of home mean to me? It's your safe place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being able to close the door.
Haven, being safe, being comfortable. And everybody deserves that safe place. Absolutely everybody. You know, home has to be somewhere where you open the door and it's where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's what home is.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, so quick fire round. Favourite song at the moment?
Your one, Olivia Dean, about being nice.
Oh, and nice to each other.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah, oh, she's brilliant.
Nice.
Her whole album is
it's wonderful.
So good. Yeah, listen to it back to back. What is your favourite movie at the moment? Or TV show? What are you watching?
I am watching The Good Doctor.
Nice.
Yes.
Favourite holiday destination?
Oh, Spain, always.
Any particular part or just
Love
Spain?
Malaga City. Love Malaga City.
Favourite thing in your house?
Oh, God, I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could not answer that question. Absolutely not. I love my home. I'm very lucky. I love my home.
Nice. And finally, favourite place in Dublin? Favourite bar, favourite restaurant, favourite coffee shop?
Can I give you two?
Go for it.
So favourite restaurant is Lottie's in Rathmines and Slattery's in Rathmines is my local.
Fab. Well, I'm going there after this.
It's my local snug.
I'm going there now, Liz. You coming?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, am I going now?
Are we going
no,
now?
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, we've work to do.
Well, that's it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Thank you for joining us on Style Stories with Easy Living Interiors. You can hear all the news, including links to more information, in the description area of this podcast. Please share our show with a friend who might enjoy it. Simply search Style Stories with Easy Living Interiors on Apple, Spotify or YouTube. This podcast is produced by justpod.io for Easy Living Interiors.